Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and we are in our new EV launching point right outside of our house, plugged into our Grizzly charger to test the 2022 Hyundai Kona Electric. This thing's supposed to be able to do about 255 miles in mixed driving, so we are going to put it to the test and head out from here and do 100 miles on the highway to see what sort of numbers you can realistically expect in the real world. We are all charged up, which means we should be able to go out, come back, charge back up, get a reading, crunch a few numbers, and see what sort of efficiency numbers we get. Quick background on the Kona Electric. This is the subcompact car that Hyundai came out with a few years ago, refreshed it for the 2022 model year, and it comes with an electric powertrain, even though the rest of the car you can get just normal gas and has an engine up front, so therefore the electric powertrain is all up in the front. It's front-wheel drive, has a 64 kilowatt-hour battery, and it's good to drive. There's a lot of good things about it. If you do want to see more on the Kona, check the links in the description. We've got a review of the Harman Kardon audio system and a little DM test drive and a comparison against our Model Y, just for kicks and giggles. Without further ado, let's get it going. Unplug the Grizzly charger, maybe. I guess the car needs to be unlocked first. There we go. Shout out to Grizzly for sponsoring all of Daily Motors at-home charging. Their smart charger has been working away very well, and because of that, we'll be able to track our electricity consumption once we get back and plug this car in. Fire it up here. Going to do climate control at 73 degrees auto. Outside temperature is 71 degrees Fahrenheit, but that's obviously going to drop as we get driving here, so heater will have to kick in a little bit, get a little bit of a real world situation. I'll try to remember to tell you guys the final ambient temperature once we end as well. Oh, before we actually go, let's reset the car's trip computer. We're ready to begin. That ominous backup sound from the Kona Electric. So this electric route gives us about 2 miles getting to the highway, and then we'll do 100 miles of highway driving, come back, and about another 2 miles off the highway from there, and then good to go. We are going to run the car in Eco Plus mode. Does it give us any climate in Eco Plus? I don't think it does. So we're not going to use Eco Plus because that really wouldn't be indicative of how someone would use their car being comfortable. So we're just going to keep it eco. There's also normal and sport drive mode. And the Kona Electric has adjustable regeneration modes, everything from 0 to 3. And I'm going to keep the regen on 3. That should help keep as much juice in the battery as possible. Switch over here to our EV screen. Got 100%. How many miles is it giving us? 283 miles, according to our range calculation right now. That's probably because we've been doing a lot more city driving rather than highway driving, so lately it's going to adapt to kind of that better case scenario, higher range number. I do really like this screen that Hyundais offer in their electric vehicles. You get to see what is using most of your power. You got drivetrain, climate, electronics, and battery care. So you get to see an instant readout for how much is being used by everything, but then also a cumulative since you started the car. That's a really neat screen. I wish all electric vehicles would have that. Right now it says we're using 21 roughly kilowatts from the drivetrain, only 0.7 for the climate, 0.3 for the electronics, and nothing for battery care. We've got nothing plugged into the car. Anything we power, we're going to do with our battery pack. I just now forgot that our existing EV route is under construction. So this will actually have a little bit more city driving getting up to it. So it's a tad unfortunate for comparison purposes, but it's just what we got to roll with. And after 3 miles, we are finally getting up to highway speeds. If this Lexus ever feels like getting and going. Fortunately, this STI knows what to do. But no, we're not trying to get the best possible range out of the Kona Electric. We're trying to find a realistic range number and an efficiency number, if you will. So in order to do that, we're going to get up to highway speed here and set our cruise control at a GPS indicated 72 miles per hour. That should allow us to average 70 over the course of the test. very good cruise control suite in the Kona Electric. You've got active lane keeping that works very well and adaptive following distance. So, as you see here, you can essentially take your hands off the wheel, or at least let it keep you in lane very well. Initial highway observations, pretty good. A little bit of wind noise coming from the front windshield, and actually a good amount of road noise as well. But it's a little bit more of a budget car, so it's to be expected. So we're going to continue on with the rest of the test and catch up with you at the end. In the meantime, enjoy this time lapse of the entire trip. Coming into the end of the highway fuel economy test here in the Kona Electric, I've got to say I am pretty darn impressed with the numbers we're seeing. We've done 100.8 miles. The battery still has 60% state of charge. We've only averaged 67 miles per hour, but keep in mind that was with a good chunk of that first section, 3 miles, being off the highway and some stop and go and stuff. So we did stick at pretty much exactly 72 miles per hour for the rest of the test. Yeah, 3.6 miles per kilowatt hour. I love having this little screen to show me that 94% of that charge was used up by the drivetrain, another 4% with climate. The temperature has fallen down to 63 degrees Fahrenheit, and then just 2% from electronics. I assume that means the lights and the gauges and everything. So I'm really happy with that. I think for a vehicle this size, and this battery pack, I mean, this, if we're really getting 3.6 miles per kilowatt hour, that should be putting us right around 230 miles of highway range, and if it's 255 estimated for mixed driving, that sounds right on the money. So we're gonna get it back to the house and charge it up, and tomorrow morning see kind of what sort of numbers we actually got. Any other observations? I thought it was a little loud for a highway cruiser. I mean, you are talking about a $44,000 car at the end of the day. That's oh no, I went the wrong way, didn't I? Shit. Oh hell yeah, I'm doing that. You are talking about a $44,000 car at the end of the day, so for that it's a little loud, but the ride's pretty good, and you cannot get much better than Hyundai's active lane keeping. It works so gosh darn well. It's practically like autopilot. Obviously you still need to be paying attention, keep your hands on the wheel, but it goes for such a long time and it's so confident in its lane maneuvering that very impressive. So let's get this thing back home, plugged in, charged up, and we'll get a result. Next day, and we are all charged up here. Grizzly Charger doing its job like it usually does. Let's hop in and take a look at the numbers. And we've got 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour over 103.7 miles according to the trip computer. But we traveled a little bit further than that according to the GPS. Now the charger says the car took 32.6 kilowatt hours to charge up, but there's some overhead with that. We usually assume about a 90% charge efficiency for electric vehicles when they're charging up on level 2 charging. So we'll do 32.6 times 0.9, getting us 29.34 kilowatt hours used by the car. 29.34, we're going to take 104.1 divided by 29.34 to get it's so close, 3.548. You know what, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to the car on this one. I think it's going to just be right about 3.55 and round up to 3.6. Oh, but then again, we did have a good bit of that not on the highway. So actually, I'm going to say 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour because, like I said, about 6 of those miles were not on the highway. So I think if you were doing exclusive highway driving, we'd get out to about 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour. That's still a pretty darn good result for this size of electric vehicle. 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour times the 64 kilowatt hour battery pack. It's giving you 224 miles at 70 miles per hour with some AC running and everything on the highway. 70 miles per hour, not too bad. And considering the EPA mixed range is 255, that is pretty in line. That makes this one of the most efficient electric SUVs we've reviewed, given it is a little bit smaller side, but still not a bad figure at all. So thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see more on the Kona Electric, check the links in the description, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.